Warning. This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Bronson.
And I am S. Foster.
That's right, and you tune into another episode of the Viewers Anonymous podcast, where we give you our very own takes and reviews of movies and TV straight out of Hollywood. What's going on with you, my guy?
Man, listen, I'm breathing. You know what I'm saying? I'm surviving, making it out here in these streets, man. But honestly, man, look, I'm confused as fuck. You hear me? I've never watched something and then got done. And like, first of all, I don't know what I watched. I'm more confused than I was before I watched it. Like, this is wild. This is gonna be a very interesting episode. But man, how you feeling, man?
Man, I'm sore, man. You know what I'm saying? Leg day at the gym today. I could barely walk around. I'm out here like Bambi, man. Knees shaking like maracas, man. It's bad out here, bro. It's bad out here.
Said Bambi. Wow.
Yeah, man. I messed around and did leg day today, so you know what I'm saying. I feel like I need to sit down wherever I go right now. But man, outside of that, man, I'm feeling good, man. Excited, you know what I'm saying. I'm back in the gym. I'm feeling good, you know what I'm saying. Trying to get this consistent, steady pace going, and shit, that's about it, bro. However, though, I am also confused. So no, you're not alone in that one, my boy. We are both bamboozled by this this piece that we have today. Let's just say that.
Man, I'm like, because even when you gave the description on the coming soon, because I haven't watched it. You know, you had seen a couple of episodes, and then like even the way you said it, I'm like, okay, like you know, because I didn't watch the trailer or anything. You know what I'm saying? I knew we was watching it. I knew we was covering it. So I'm like, I'm just gonna dive in. You know what I mean? Like I'm going in. You know what I'm saying? Head first, and it's like, yeah, I'm like, yo. This shit wild, but
so the trailer had caught me, and I had seen it, and I was, you know what I'm saying, kind of seeing what they was talking about, and I kind of read the description, and I put it on the list, and then I just so happened to be listening to Joe podcast, and I heard Mel start talking about it, and then everybody else was like, yeah, you know, her and Parks was going back and forth about it, like, yo, this shit is crazy, da da da. I was like, oh, okay, I definitely gotta watch this now. I'm like, so I know this is something good, because anytime like, you know what I'm saying, Joe get in on some shit like this, like, you know, it's a good one. So far, it's like he ain't had no bad recommendations. Everything that he said that he watched and like I done checked it out, it's been pretty good. So yeah, I was like, let me go ahead and check it out. And yeah, I can't lie, man. This has probably been one of the most exciting docs I've watched in a while.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna be honest, like my doc game has been bad as of late, but I just watched one. I got it for my coming soon. Okay. I got two mean coming soon. Not coming soon, but what we watching. What am I talking about? I got two mean what we watching. I watched this one doc this week, but yeah, my doc game has been down. It has been down, but like watching this, it's like that's why I say I got this thing where I say, yo, look at the people that we're living amongst. You know what I'm saying? And this is one of those ones. This is a perfect example of like, yo, we live among, like, there's some wild shit going on in neighborhoods that you never would fucking imagine. And it's like, and then like what, like, cause there was some things that happened in here that hit close to home to me that really, really upset me. You know what I'm saying? But some of the shit that I had heard. So, but like, yo, I just usually documentaries just like, yo, you come to a conclusion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, yo, like I still don't know. It's like I don't know.
I think I know why there hasn't been a conclusion though, because. And I found this odd when I had started watching this, that when I went to play it, it says season 1, episode 1. And then when we get to the end, we realize that there are actual trials going on. So I think that with everything that's still going on, present day, they're waiting for everything to end.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to come back with possibly a season two.
Well, it has to be because we don't know what happened to Christine.
Right, right.
So
And
this is really gonna have to be a part one. We're gonna have to revisit this later.
absolutely, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Yeah. So this is because because even the way it ended, like we never got closure.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Because when it ended, it was like, yo, like okay, what happened to Christine? Like we got one trial here. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, he got acquitted, but it's like, yo, what happens to her? And he got to testify against her, which we'll get into all of that shit. But it's
yeah.
just like, I'm not gonna lie, like I was about to say the wrong word. I was about to make the mistake and say it's entertaining, but it's not entertaining because this is a real person's life. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
This is real shit
But
that's going on.
it's definitely interesting though.
Yeah,
Because
that's the word.
yeah, because man, listen, first and foremost, like you said, this is somebody's life. Well, it's a couple people's
A
lives.
couple people's life, yeah.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is that you think that you think you see certain people, what I'm saying, doing something good. And it seems that way. Like it comes off as, what I'm saying, oh, these are good people, they're trying to help people out and what I'm saying, do something and they have kind hearts until you really get the story and then you realize, oh, they are pieces of shit. I mean,
Yeah.
in the end, like, these people are really pieces of shit at the end of the day because, like, how could you go so far as to do something wrong or do something bad to somebody who is, what I'm saying, like either less fortunate than you or disabled or, what I'm saying, not as capable as you are. And it's like, yo, when you see these type of people taking advantage of, what I'm saying, people who aren't able to, what I'm saying, technically fend for themselves or, what I'm saying, really be able to live a quote unquote regular life. And you see the way that they do these people, it's like, God damn, bro, like you really that sick in the fucking head? This shit is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, especially like when you already got three kids and then you find out that one of your kids is, autistic, but the Asperger's joint. Come to find out
Yeah,
he's a fucking
that's what I was confused about, right? Because when they were mentioning him, excuse me, when they were what's his name, Jacob?
Jacob, yeah.
When they were mentioning Jacob, his dad was like he had autism or Asperger's, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I think Asperger's is a form of autism, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's a different form. Like my son don't have that. He just has autism.
Right. Okay.
He's
So
high functioning, but yeah.
my oldest son, he had got tested for Asperger's, and when he was younger, because like when he was younger, he would, what I'm saying, like make sporadic movements and he talked a certain way or, stuff like that. And, or he wouldn't talk in certain scenarios or anything like that. And I didn't think he did because as a kid, like I was the same way. I was kind of like standoffish. So I'm like, well, I'm just thinking like, well, that shit is genetic. He just don't fuck with nobody. Well,
Mhm.
when we went to get him tested, they was like, nah, he's not. But you know what I'm saying? Like he shows signs of, what I'm saying, that he possibly could be, even though he wasn't. But I'm just like, well, that's just how he is. That don't have nothing to do with nothing. Cause like he'll dip off on everybody and just go sit in the room by himself and just be kicking it.
Yeah.
But because what I'm saying, like certain shit, like they really thought that he did. So when I was sitting there and he was saying it, I'm like, how the fuck don't you know whether your son, what I'm saying, has Asperger's or is just simply autistic or not? Like, how don't you know that?
Because he was way up like my ex-wife, like when Tay was 2, she was like,
Mhm,
yo, something ain't right.
mhm.
And I'm like, man, ain't nothing wrong with him. Like he cool, you know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 blah. She was like, nah, like he should be talking more.
Right.
And like I thought she was just exaggerating because like she did the whole baby book shit, read, oh, we supposed to wake him up every 2 hours and feed him. I'm like, you out your goddamn mind. I'm like, hey, that motherfucker's sleeping. You let him stay down. You don't wake no baby up to feed him every 2 hours. What the fuck are you talking about? So I'm thinking she just like, yo, you need to put them books down. You know what I mean? And so we took him, got tested and all that type of stuff. Come to find out he did because like at that time in his life, like everything was one word. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Drink. Food. Like everything was one word. But he would never say anything else. And she was like, yo, like something's not right. So we took him in, and he ended up having it, and like they immediately jumped on it. Like he was in 4K for 2 years. Like he went to 4K when he was 3.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he did, and he used to have, and I used to feel so bad for him because he used to have, like like I say, he started school at 3, and then he had therapy after school.
Right.
And like he had therapy after school up until he was 13 years old. So like he used to have like long, like this dude had 12-hour days. Like he wouldn't get home till 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then for a short period, for like 2 years, he has therapy on Saturdays. So I had to take him to therapy on Saturday. So he had, a lot of therapy. But like she could see it in a 2-year-old.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like this kid was older when they seen that. And it was just like, yo, like what the fuck y'all been doing? Like y'all not paying attention, but he come to find out he's like a fucking genius.
Yeah,
like,
man, whiz.
Like, and that, like I say, and I tell you this all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying? My older, he loved stocks. I don't know how much he understands it, but what I do know is he writes the shit down every day. I don't know if he sees a pattern. Like, I don't know exactly what he sees, but he fucking loves that shit.
Man, listen.
And I'm gonna try to do some more investigating on it to try to see, like, yo, is he like picking up on certain shit that, you know what I mean?
Let me know.
But like I say, all of them got their thing. You know what I'm saying? But like this kid, just a fucking whiz. But
it was like, what movie was that? Rain Man? Was that when Matt Damon was in?
Yeah, Matt Damon and Steve Martin. Not Steve Martin. Oh shit, what is his name? Not Steve Martin. Damn, his name ain't coming to my head. But it's like if you have a special needs kid and you got 2 other kids and then you want to adopt, it's like, okay. But what really pissed me off, and it didn't at the time, because at the time I'm like, yo, that's fucking nice of y'all. They started this whole daycare joint with special needs kids. And I'm like, and they was like, let other autistic kids play with other autistic kids. I'm like, yo, that's really good, because with those kids, like, I'm pretty sure they have some kind of special connection that's different from that they have with other people, other than maybe siblings and stuff like that. But like, I'm like, yeah, that's cool to be around your, I don't mean this in a bad way, but like your own kind, basically. So I'm thinking, yo, that's real good. I'm like, that's nice of y'all. And then we come to find out, like, y'all some fucking assholes. Like, I don't want y'all around the autistic kids. Like, what the fuck is going on? But
these motherfuckers not kids, period.
Exactly. And like my whole thing is, and I've been wanting to ask you this ever since I seen shit. Because I think this was like episode 1 or 2. So they talking about the fucking adoption place in Florida.
Yeah.
So they get to describing this place. It's like, yo, this shit basically is in the middle of the hood. Is like there ain't nothing around it. It just springs up on you, and then like even the phone call that they got, that they say they got, yo, we got this kid. She from Ukraine. She's special needs. She's a little person. She got all these other diseases, because she's not just a regular little person. Like she got the whole stuff with her legs and all that type of stuff. So it's like they're like, yo, but if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it in 24 hours. Like, wait a minute, like, give me some time to think about this shit. Like, what you mean? Like, there's a lot of responsibility to take on something, and you only got 24 hours to do it.
especially not knowing what her disease, you know what I'm saying? Like what would it take to care for her in her condition as well? That's another thing I didn't like too. I'm with you on that because it's like y'all didn't do no research on what she had, what she was dealing with, you know what I'm saying? What she possibly could have needed while she was there. Like y'all didn't do none of that information. Y'all just went with it, was like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I thought that was really strange because that is a life changing decision. Not
Right.
only just to adopt a child in the first place when you already got three, but to
Mm-hmm.
take on one that's going to need the type of special attention that this little girl had needed.
Right.
Like, the whole term of, give me 24 hours to think about it. No, they
Mm-hmm.
said, yo, you got 24 hours to decide. I'm like, yo, if that's what it is, then I'm good. Like, don't, like, you should never make like those type of decisions that quickly. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, if you didn't even do the research of knowing like what type of care that this girl was going to need in the first place.
Right.
So my question is, how do you feel about the Florida place, and do you think that Michael was telling the truth of like how that shit went down? Like they looking through the peephole and they see the family drop them off, and they don't even get to talk to the family, and it's a closed adoption and all that
Okay.
type shit.
First and foremost, because we really just jumped into this shit. So let me give a synopsis real quick. So basically, this is a story about a young adopted, or what seems to be a young adopted girl, who suffers from dwarfism and I think some type of muscular dystrophy or something like that. I think that's what it was. Don't quote me on that last part, but I think that's what it was, something like that. But she ends up getting adopted by this family who, like as I said, has an autistic son. They had three sons in general. The mother was running a daycare. The father, I don't know what he
I don't
did.
know what he did, but he
Yeah,
made bread.
yeah, whatever he did, he was making a lot of money. And they had a Lamborghini in the driveway. They had basically like a mini mansion. They were living in like this super well off neighborhood. They were doing real good. And they were talking about, saying having another child. The wife said she didn't really want to. So instead they decided to adopt. They ended up adopting Natalia. And then it we come to find out that things may not have been exactly, you know what I'm saying, peaches and cream with the whole adoption and the living situation and so on and so forth. So just to give you guys sort of a rundown on what's going on, because like I said, we just jumped into it. But I don't so first and foremost, Michael Barnett, that's who we talking about. I don't believe anything he says. First
Okay.
off, he's too animated for me. Um in I believe it was the 2019 interview. I think that it was 2019. He had told a certain storyline, and then when they went to talk to him in 2022, he told something totally different. And not only that, he seems at first to in 2019 he had seemed at first to attack Natalia with everything. And then when they
Mhm.
went to him in 2022, now he's attacking Christine, his ex-wife. So, and not only is he attacking her, he's pinning everything basically on her. So,
Mhm.
I don't believe anything he says. I think he's super suspect. I actually wrote this down. I said he creepy and he's suspect as fuck. That was that was my actual Michael. As far as Christine goes, I put that she was covering something up. Um, but nah, Michael is something ain't right about that nigga. When he first started talking, I instantly said that nigga guilty. I don't even know what he was talking about. Just as soon as they showed him and he started talking, he guilty. He too animated, he too extra, he do too much. He like a theater kid, bro. Um, and so like just the way that he told the story was already off. Like they just dropped her off and dipped out, and then they opened the door. She just outside. First and foremost, my nigga, y'all ain't got no papers to sign. Y'all ain't meet with nobody
What?
from the agency or nothing. Y'all just got on the phone, was like, yeah, we can do it right now. And then they just dropped her off.
Well, it was like they said, "Yo, you got 24 hours to decide," but they was like, "But the little girl has been dropped off in Florida." So these motherfuckers fly to Florida, just up and leave Florida. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Go to this place, and they're like, "Yo, they get the girl." Like it was just, I just thought the story was super weird. Of the fact of like they got you in this room, and y'all are looking through a peephole,
But that's what I'm saying.
and
Like, it wasn't nobody from the agency to mediate the situation or nothing. They just dropped her off.
it's like, why? First of all, it's like, why would the parents that had her wouldn't want to meet the people that they're giving her to?
Why are the I want to know why the parents that had her are willing to let her go at this point. What is going on that you guys aren't efficient enough to handle that way? So when we get her, we'll know what needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying. Like they never really did any due diligence to see what the fuck they needed to do for real.
I think that for the other parents, the only way to say the reason why the other parents would want to get rid of her, I hate to
Mhm.
say it like that, but it's because they got her and was like, yo, it's too much for our quote unquote like lifestyle or whatever. It's just
Well,
like,
well, later on down the line, we figure out that that ain't what it really was.
yeah, but I mean, but
Fucking cool.
to deal with a child with dwarfism, like I
Right.
say, that's even with dealing like with my son with being
Mhm.
autistic. You know what I mean? Like, I mentioned this before. I ain't gonna get deep into it, but it was just like, my previous relationship. It was something that they couldn't deal with. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I think it's a certain type of person that can really deal with something that takes special attention. You know what I
Well,
mean?
not only that, like you also have to be empathetic and you have to learn as well. Because if you're somebody who hasn't dealt with someone that has, something that is dealing with a condition or whatever the case may be, you don't know. And
Yeah,
if you are allowing them into your life, you have to learn that way you'll know how to be able to cope with what they got going on. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to be empathetic with their struggle because it's not just a normal person going through everyday life. This is somebody who needs special care and attention. So
yeah,
you got to be able to be open to that.
yeah. And I think that, and I'm not making excuses for the people. I don't know.
Right,
I'm just
right.
saying that maybe these people, when they adopted her, they thought that they
Mhm,
could deal with it, and then they
mhm.
was like, you know what? We done had it for a while. We thought
Right.
we could handle this. It's a little bit too much to bear, so we want to put her back up for adoption. Now I can see how they would want to do something like that if they got into it thinking it was gonna go one way, and I was like, yo, you know what? Like we can't do this, so we're gonna give her up. But I just thought that it was weird that they didn't speak to them at all, and they only had 24 hours to decide.
Yeah.
And the fact that they jumped on it, then they get her, they take her straight to Disney World. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just like, yo,
Yeah, it's a little weird, man. Okay, so let's go there. So they finally, you know what I'm saying, they're basically able to legally adopt her and get everything else. They go through the necessary channels and do the paperwork, blah blah blah. And now she is now Natalia Barnett.
hmm
So like you said, they take her to Disney World. They notice that because of her condition, um, she can't properly walk on her feet,
hmm
and they get her surgery. No, that's the first family that did that, right?
no, no, they did.
It was them? Okay, okay, I'm just making
Yeah.
sure. So they get her surgery. Um, and it was to help her, um, kind of walk better because
hmm
I don't think it was anything that they could have did to help her properly walk the way that, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
it
her legs
seemed
was formed and all that type of stuff.
right. Yeah, so it was something that was gonna be the best option for her to be able to help her cope and everything else to help her get along. And so once they did that, it just seemed like after a while, shit just started to hit the fan. They started to say that she was saying things like she wanted to kill him. She was messing with the youngest brother, and she was teasing him all the time, bullying him. They said like at one point in time she would take like their favorite car or their favorite Hot Wheel car and like drop it in the middle of the street. So when he go get it, like a car would be coming. She was hiding knives under the bed, and she was telling them like, when you go to sleep, I'm gonna kill you and I'm gonna kill everybody in the house. Then they said some shit like she poured pine sol in somebody's coffee or some shit
And
like that.
Christina's coffee.
Yeah, like it seemed like a lot for a kid and mind you, when we say kid, we don't know whether she was a kid or not. But at the time, she was supposed to be 6. So it seemed like a lot for a fucking 6-year-old kid with disability to be doing. First and foremost, like, let's keep it real, okay? That was the first thing that was I instantly seen the red flag, because I'm like, all right, now don't get me wrong, she wasn't like she wasn't paralyzed, but she was still able to, move around and play and do things like that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, she got surgery, and when she had the surgery, she had on like a boot or something like that, so she couldn't really walk properly because she didn't have the right shoes or whatever, because she was still healing. So I'm like, a lot of this shit that y'all saying sounding super, super weird. It's super suspicious. And then that's when we meet Rachel Ambler. This is the only person in the documentary I completely like. I don't care what you say, I do not like her. My notes on her is that she's a nosy ass neighbor. And she's
Well, at least she admitted she was a nosy ass neighbor.
That's why I didn't like her. So neighbor. And I seen it when she was, before she even said it, but when she walked up and introduced herself and they did the little montage of her walking, I was like, oh yeah, I said that's the nosy ass neighbor. I said that's the PTA lady. But I also said that's the person that Natalia should have been after. That was in my notes. They definitely should have took her. Rachel irritated my fucking soul because I know too many ladies like her, bro. But you know what I'm saying? At first, she was talking about how, everything was great, everything was cool, and then the one time Christine or one of them had said something about she was trying to kill everybody or something like that. She was like, "Oh, let me get my kid. I don't want to play with her anymore because, what if she tries to kill me? What if she tries to kill my kid? Bitch, she don't even know you for real. Look at her. Did you see her? She had 5 chins, and she was wearing a tablecloth for a dress. No, nobody's gonna kill you, bro. Even if you do get stabbed in the neck, you gonna make it. You got 3 arms. I didn't. And then the big event happens is where Natalia is met with the only other little girl in Indiana who suffers from the same conditions she suffers from,
which is crazy.
I don't want to say suffer. Let me stop saying suffering. Who has the same conditions that she has?
Yo, was it 3,200 or 32,000? I can't remember. Was it 3,200? So how crazy? Only 3,200 cases of this out of the billions of people on this planet, and one of them happened to be in fucking Indiana.
Exactly. So the young girl we're talking about is Therese Reyes. Her mom, Elva Reyes, was trying to, basically like trying to get with Christine and Michael and, create a friendship, a bond between them. And she also wanted Therese, her daughter, to kind of have a bond, with Natalia because of their conditions. And then they had set them side by side. They were kind of dressed alike and everything. And you kind of seen a weird difference to where Therese looked more of a child than Natalia did. And that's where everything kind of starts getting funny.
Yo, do you believe what Michael said? Now there was a picture
when she was doing her, when she was trying
to when she tried to blow up her cheeks.
I 100% believe it.
Okay,
but I think she was coached to do that. Because did you see that? When she did that face, did you see the little girl look at her like, the fuck?
Yeah, she did look at her like, what are you doing?
What y'all doing? I think she was coached to do that. And then also we also meet Kimberly, who is Michael's sister, who also talks about the situation with Natalia, which was crazy to me because we never heard them talk about Kimberly in any of these stories or any of these situations or being around or none of that. But my notes on Kimberly was she's a certified weirdo and possibly a drug addict. Because who talks like this the whole time?
Yeah,
She's,
come on, man. Don't do
I'm
that.
like, she's on some shit, bro. She was on something. So that was that was my, you know what I'm saying, so far them my notes on the people that we talk about so far. So Kimberly was saying some shit. I really wasn't buying whatever Kimberly was saying because I couldn't take her serious either. So not only is Kimberly weird, so the fucking Michael. Michael is like beyond weird. Like this nigga is different, okay? This nigga, first and foremost, I think he faking everything. That nigga is not into women. And I don't know if I'm just being real. I'm trying to be real. I'm not trying to be homophobic or nothing. I'm just saying that man is not into women, bro. Okay. And if he is, he's bisexual. Because there's no way.
Yeah.
this nigga reminded me of the son on Modern Family.
Listen, I'm not laughing at the fact.
I'm just being real, bro.
I'm not laughing at the fact that he could be gay or bisexual. It's the fact that how you fucking said that shit.
High probability. And I think this is why I think he's lying, because I think he's still in the closet about being gay. Like, bro, come out and be gay. It's okay.
Yo, she talk about, man. He said he was so sexually attracted to Christine, man. And he said Christine held the box from him, and then would send him pictures and use the box to be like, yo, if you do this, well, that was when that was divorced. That was crazy.
When have you ever told anybody I'm so sexually attracted to this? You know what I say to that? You know what I would tell him?
What?
Okay. Tell the truth, my nigga. Tell the goddamn truth.
Play the shit one. I'm gonna give you one more time.
And you through, nigga. Tell the truth.
Hey, oh, I fucking love this. Yo, bro. Hey, okay. I gotta get myself together. Yo,
lying this time. You know, I'm gonna tell you what I really wanted to tell him.
You keep talking, man, and you shut the fuck up.
Cause he lying.
Yo, okay. Hold on. All right. So Michael is sus. Okay. Let's get that out there.
Number one.
All right. Now, his stories are super animated. They are.
And they are lies.
I think a lot of the shit that Michael is saying is lies, but I also think Michael is super sensitive.
Absolutely. You could tell he definitely didn't pants in the family.
Yeah, I don't think the crying that he was doing, I don't think that shit was fake. I think this motherfucker was really crying. Like every time we saw this dude crying, I think he was really crying.
Yeah, he was for sure crying.
But we come to find out that yes, Christine was definitely wearing the pants. And in a lot of the situations, because this is the thing, right? You know, when people use the whole thing of, oh, happy wife, happy life, and my wife wears the pants and all that type of shit. I ain't really with. I used to go by that theory.
No, happy wife, happy life is true. Don't get me wrong. Like the happier your wife is, the happier.
Yes, this is completely true. But I also feel like, Yeah, but like, you know what I'm saying? I gotta happiness too. And
No,
it's
for sure.
just like, but you know what I'm saying? But like I say, a majority of the time, because I'm a type person, if you can, you know what I'm saying, you get your girl confidence up, you're better off. You get your girl, uh, you know what I'm saying,
A woman,
happy, the better off
she
you're gonna be. Like, yeah,
yeah,
I'm
definitely.
a firm believer in all of that shit. But it's just like it seemed like with their situation, it just seemed like Christine made all the fucking decisions and Michael was just going along with every fucking thing that she's fucking talking about.
She was beating his ass.
I think she was. And I think she set him up on that
I
whole domestic charge joint.
And I'll tell you another reason I think that, because nosy ass Rachel. She said she used to see them outside. No, she said she used to see them arguing all the time. And then
Hmm.
one time she said she was outside and they were in the front yard arguing. And she overheard Christine say, "I'm gonna give you one more time."
You do. Oh my god.
No,
Yo,
she said,
yo, the neighbor said, yo, he said, I felt so bad for Michael. How she talked to him.
yeah, she
And
said
I'm
he
like,
was basically being emasculated. And so this whole time during the so okay, so this is the thing. If you guys haven't seen this, you have to understand, like, most of this shit is from Michael's point of view. This is all
mhm.
from Michael's point of view. He's the main person that they're interviewing in this documentary. They're taking the actual interview from in 2019, and are also interviewing him 2 years later in 2020, or 3 years later in 2022. I'm sorry. And so it's a lot of confliction in his stories. Um, But the first time in 2019, a lot of his anger and a lot of his story is directed towards Natalia.
Mhm.
And as you know what I'm saying, the more and more you watch this, everything shifts from Natalia and then eventually shifts towards Christine. And this is another reason why I think Michael is guilty, because the fact that it's just from his point of view, it seemed like it's moving around from everybody except him. Because he never
That's
talks about what he does, of course.
yeah, and then when he does, like, it's still like a reflection of Christine. That's what makes
Right.
this not necessarily a documentary because it's so Michael sided. And like and it's like he shifts his point of view because of obviously the breakup and the divorce and all of that type shit.
Right.
So what he's doing is he's taking accountability off himself and putting it on the person that he's not associated with anymore.
Right.
So this is just more of like, oh, you're gonna divorce me? All right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
now
pin all this shit on you. Yeah,
yeah,
like now everything's your fucking fault. But
absolutely.
we got to get into this shit, man, because we're coming up on 40 minutes. Like the way that they chose to deal, like first of all, they did a lot of fucked up shit, and I
Hmm.
think a lot of that, I think a lot of that stuff is not true as far as like, she would stand over our bed with knives and she would look Christina dead in her face and say, "Yo, I'm gonna kill you," and all this type
Right.
of shit. I think a
Well,
lot of that shit.
even the incident that happened at the farm, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah, we come to find out that whole situation was a lot.
for the birthday. Yeah, like even that was just like, okay, like it
It did,
it was
yo.
already suspect. It was already suspect because the way that he was trying to put it was they were walking off, and Natalia basically tried to go sit by a fence that was supposedly an electric. Well, it was an electric fence that was supposedly on, and she tried to go sit by the fence. And when Christine came over there, she basically told the sons and the husband, to continue on. And she was basically scolding Natalia, talking about, "You're not going to ruin his birthday. You need to get up. You need to come on. The tension is not on you." And then the husband turned around, was like, "Are you sure?" And she was like, "No, I deal with her. You go on, make sure he have his birthday or whatever." Supposedly, she tried picking Natalia up. Natalia pulled her down to the ground close to the fence, and she tried to make it seem like Natalia tried to get her shocked by the fence. So then, with all that, now mind you, this is somebody who's her legal guardian. She calls the cops. The cops come out there, and when the cops come out there, they evaluate everything, find out what's going on. She's like, well, she needs to be arrested. Well, they like, well, I mean, she's a little girl. We can't arrest her. That's kind of crazy. So then they like, well, we'll put her, we'll take her to a mental hospital, get her evaluated, so on and so forth. And then I guess they get what, like maybe 6 or 7 months where she's in the mental hospital. And it was the LaRue Daniels Mental Hospital. Now, this was another thing too that I didn't like, because they were trying to like make it seem as if Natalia was really on this shit when she was saying like she'd kill him and everything. Christine kept saying that she's a sociopath. And then it was this thing between her and Michael. At first, it was between her and Michael. Michael then switched and said it was just Christine, where they kept asking her about the orphanage in Ukraine. And my thing was like, I didn't understand that, because if they got her from Florida and she was 6, then ain't no telling when they got her from the Ukraine. So how the fuck would she remember anything about the Ukraine?
Yeah, exactly. And then we get mad at her. And from what Michael said, like I said, we don't know what's true and what's not. Like I still don't know what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Supposedly, Christina would use food and using the restroom and have her standing up against walls if she don't answer her Ukraine questions. And it's like, if she's really 6, and at this time you thought that she may have possibly been 6 years old, how would she remember anything? Because they said that she would have left when she was 5. How would she know anything? And then you're telling me that y'all are using food as bargaining tools? Like the fuck?
And using the restroom at that. Like, I mean, at this point, they basically treating her like a fucking pet.
Yeah, and then it was the one time where they had her, where they said that they didn't feel comfortable with having her in the house because she was sitting over the bed with a knife. They had her sleeping on the fucking deck, and then the neighbors heard her call.
No, remember that wasn't what that was for. She made her sleep on the deck because when she was messing with the son.
Yeah, because she said that. Yeah, she said she was gonna kill the youngest son.
Yeah.
And so they had her sleep outside, and then they called child services on them and all that type shit. But no, like it's a lot of this shit is some of the most wildest shit you've ever heard.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm watching it, and I'm trying to piece this shit together. Like, yo, like I'm trying to make sense of this, and it's like, yo, none of this makes any fucking sense at all. And then the type of tactics that they would take, though, it's like, who thinks of this type of shit? Like, this girl has dwarfism with surgically repaired legs, and you telling me? But the crazy part is, you filmed this. You got her standing up against a wall.
Right.
But this is one thing that you did. I just thought about it, that you left out with the whole fence situation.
Yeah.
Michael tried to use the whole thing of and showed a picture of her doing a headstand, saying, y'all, yeah, I know you're looking at her. She's small in stature, but she used her arms a lot. She was really strong.
Right.
I'm like, Michael, you don't get the fuck out of here talking about this girl that's really strong.
Remember, they was talking about the one lady who was supposed to adopt her. She was also she also had dwarfism, and she was a teacher. And she was saying like, yo, she was like, even when I'm in class, like, ain't no kid about to, you know what I'm saying, like push me over or do nothing to me. Like, no, I'm an adult at the end of the day. She was like, so it would be hard for me to imagine a full-grown adult, a full-size adult, to be getting manhandled by somebody who not only it has dwarfism, but also has a condition of muscular dystrophy. She was like, "There's no way." She was like, "Hell," she was like, "Some of us could barely walk."
And she was
So
like, the only way, she said the only way she could have fought Christine Fair's baby, she had a gun or some shit like that. And
exactly.
it's just like, and I'm like, I'm listening to this and I'm like, yo, this whole form situation sounds completely off. Like none of this shit. He's like, yo, Christine screamed and I thought she was dead.
So he ran. So they ran back. Now, mind you, when they supposedly ran back, it was only 50 or 30 yards. Now, mind you, this is what he's saying in 2019. So they cut to 2022. And he's like, "Yeah, we had to run through the whole forest just to get back. By the time we got back, the cops were already there and blah, blah, blah." And then they cut right back to when he said what he said in 2019. And I said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "This motherfucker is a culprit for sure. He's definitely a culprit, bro."
Yeah, he definitely fabricated a lot of shit because
Mhm.
of the divorce. I think he just bitter. I think he became a bitter dude and was
Absolutely.
like he knew that because when he got the charges, because the one thing they kept bouncing timelines. It's one
Mhm.
thing that they did do, and so there was one timeline where he was like, when he called the police, he said, "Yo, is there like not a
No,
bench
he said
warrant, but
he
like a
said he seen a headline where he was supposed to be arrested.
yeah," said that he was being charged with child neglect,
Yeah.
and he's like, the dude told him, yeah, he was like, well, okay, so what are the steps I take from here and all of this type shit, and it's just like how the that was one of the things that I did not like about this documentary
Mhm.
is the jumping from the different timelines because it's already confusing enough trying to figure out like how old this girl is.
Oh,
Because
because
once
yeah,
they
we said
really start getting into that,
yeah.
that throws you off even more. But then y'all are bouncing from different timelines where he's in the new house and then you're going back to when they were together. Because like you said, his stories conflict. Like they don't match up. And so to me, that makes the shit a whole lot more confusing. But so then this is the wild part, dude. These people were able to pull off a whole thing of going to a courthouse and saying that the documents from Ukraine is basically forged and it's not right,
Right.
and using stuff like, yo, she got pubic hair and she's
Mhm.
supposed to be 6. And they Google when the earliest you can get pubic hair, and it says, it could be as early as 8 to 13 or whatever.
Right.
And they're like, yo, she's 6. How does she have pubic hair? And
Well, also don't forget too that when they were in the house, Christine was basically scolding her for having a period.
yeah, said that she would hide her period underwear.
Yeah.
And
So
so they,
that was
yeah,
already crazy because I'm like, as a woman, you would think that the first thing you would do would be to go grab her some type of, you know what I'm
tampon
saying?
type situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
menstrual aid or something, whether it be a tampon, a pad, whatever the case is, to help her and teach her that. But instead, she's getting scolded for that shit. So I'm like, okay, that threw me off too. Because
But
as a
then to say, and then to say that Natalia told her that it
yeah,
was her period.
but she remember she made her do it. Because I think like once again, everything that you see on camera, bro, I think that shit is scripted. So she made her talk about that shit on camera. Also, as a father of a daughter, as a parent of a daughter, when you go through that, like that's the first thing you want to do is make sure that they're okay with what's going on. You want to build that confidence up to let them know this is a natural process that you're going to be going through. This is something that, this is what happens when you get older and you become a woman and blah blah blah. Like this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? So for a mother to, and it's supposed to be her mother, for a mother to be going through this is already weird as fuck. The way she was treating her about this shit. And so jumping back, like you said, to the courthouse. And the defense was basically saying, like, yo, you know, we don't know how old she is, blah, blah, blah. And the lady was saying that the lady that was with the hospital or whatever was saying, like, basically, they had sufficient evidence to prove that she was, you know what I'm saying, of a certain age.
Yeah.
And as this is going on, we also got to shoot back to some of the evidence that they used from the LaRue Daniels Mental Institute, which was basically a lot of the orderlies and the healthcare workers are saying that a lot of the shit that she was doing in there was super sexual. You know what I'm saying? She was, you know what I'm saying, coming on to the other or to the male patients. She was talking about having a boyfriend, and then like one of them said something about she was talking about doing favors for money, sexual favors for money. And so when I heard that right there, like because that's the reason that she was only in there for 6 to 7 months, they basically called them and was like, yo, you have to come get her
Yeah.
because there's nothing that we can do. So when I heard that, that's when I kind of start thinking, okay, something ain't right. She may be getting sexually abused. That's what made me think that instantly. Because for her to be before we even find out what the courts say, and for her to be quote unquote 6, and for her to be talking the way that she's talking and doing the stuff that they saying she doing, something ain't right. Something ain't right at all.
Yeah,
And you don't
and like
know where as a kid, bro.
and that's what I'm saying. That's why it was like it was going back and forth with me. It was like there were times where I'm convinced, yo, this girl is 6. And then there
Yeah,
was times that I'm convinced, like, I don't know, but she might be like 22, like the court said, because it's just like, how does she know some of the things that she know
exactly.
and carrying
Now,
herself the way that she is in certain situations?
I
And
do think mentally she may have been 6 years old, maybe 8 years old, because it don't seem like they didn't talk about schooling, they didn't talk about none of that shit. So
well, they,
mentally she may have been in that age range.
yeah, and I think they was homeschooling her,
Right.
but like, but it was so crazy that a court can just say like, yo, these documents are forged, and we think that this girl, with some of the evidence that we have, or we see her beside a 6-year-old girl with the same thing, she's
Hmm.
twice her size, her facial, structure is of an adult, she got pubic hair, boom, boom, 22.
Well,
And it's,
and remember, we also see Therese too when she's 14, and she
yeah,
looked a lot older than 14 facially when they, you know what I'm saying, went back and interviewed her. So at
yeah.
that time, it's a possibility that she could have been maybe 10 or 12. And to me, I think at least she could have possibly been 10 or 12 instead of 6 years old.
See, and that little girl was thinking that she was around
Right.
my age of now. Like she thought that she was like you said, 10 or 12 or whatever.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, so now the court say she's 22.
Hmm.
So these people come up with an idea of getting this girl an apartment. Now this first apartment is more easier for her to maneuver around because there's no steps.
I will say this: the first apartment, bro, was cool because first and foremost, it was in a well-to-do. It was in the richest. They said it was the richest neighborhood. Um, well, let me see, because I wrote it down. They got her apartment in the richest part of one of the richest parts of Indiana, which was like I think they called it. They weren't Lafayette. It was like West Hamilton or some shit like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll get to Lafayette. It ain't Lafayette at all.
Yeah,
But like, so this apartment, it looked more like a hotel room, like some of the hotel rooms. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and they gave her some furniture out the house. You
mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And the way they put it, they said something about they paid 3 months rent, and they was bringing food by, because even the neighbors was like, at first they was coming by, they was like, the only time we saw them is that they were just bringing food. And the
Right.
old lady was like, yo, she thought it was fucked up because she said one day Christine had kind of like, no, Michael, she said Michael had brought food, but like he like set the bags out like
No,
outside the car. That was
right. It was
Christine. And
because remember it
so
was
she
the
was like, and Christine didn't help her take the groceries in. So she said
yep.
she see this little girl just taking the groceries in. And so she goes and helps the little girl because she's like, why they got this little girl doing this by herself? So she basically like looked at Christine and like tried to wave at her. She's like, she didn't wave back or nothing.
Mhm.
And she was like, that was the last time she saw her. But then she said that's when she started seeing Michael. Michael started coming after that. Christine only came that one time. Well, the lady said she only saw Christine one time.
Right.
And she said that that's when Michael started showing up. My
Right.
whole shit with Michael was, before we get into the shits, was the one weird shit about Michael was like the one time when he went over and he looked at her cabinet and was like, yo, where did you get these donuts from?
Right.
Why are you interrogating this girl about fucking donuts?
Well, this is that was a thing to me that I looked at too, and this is what once again this is why I'm super suspicious of Michael, because if you go back a little bit before he even started asking her about the donuts, he was asking her what the lady from CPS and her was talking about, and
Yep.
remember he was saying like, yeah, she told us that you said blah 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 blah. And you basically he was trying to make it seem like she was lying about some shit. So
Mhm.
then he goes to her cell phone and deletes all the messages and all of her contacts. So she can't call anybody. She don't have anybody's number, any of that shit. And he basically was like, yeah, like, and if if you continue to do this, we basically gonna take your phone away.
Which is crazy. And
Which is
then the
nuts.
wild part was, I guess when they approved, the courts approved her being 22, she was able to get food stamps. And so the neighbor was like, she would take her to the store, to let her buy things that she wanted, like a little food market or whatever, whatnot. But then what ended up happening, from what they say, their accounts, and even these neighbors that lived across the street, they was like, Natalia would just show up, just
Yep.
walk in. She, ladies like, I came home one day, she's like, Natalia's in my refrigerator, talking about she ain't got no food.
No, okay, that was crazy because she said that she wasn't even at the house. And
Yeah,
she was just like, she walked in and she just in her house. And she said it was another neighbor, the one lady that they never show her face, but she said the other neighbor had said that happened to her too.
yep. And then she told a story about she had a grandson there, and supposedly Natalia came in and started really coming on to the little boy, and the little boy told her to get out. So,
Mm,
and then the other neighbors that lived across the street, the married couple, they were just like, she would just show up, and they're like,
yeah.
they got like, he said that, they gave her the phone number at first because they were like, oh well,
Yeah,
this girl
right.
needs some assistance.
She started playing with their son.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so they was like, and then she just came out and said, yo, I I tried to murder my mom, and
Mhm. And
I
she
don't
said
see
she's
the,
26.
yeah. And so they're like, okay. And so then the husband ended up being smart, because he was like, okay, if you're willing to say this all nonchalant, he was like, well, I don't know if I want to piss you off. You know what I mean? So he's like,
Right.
he's fighting with the whole thing of like, all right, how do I let this girl down? Because if she, and then he said that their son would be out at the parking, at the bus stop,
Right.
and Natalia would just show up at the bus stop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With the son before he go to school. So he's trying to navigate of like, okay, how hard do I go in when it comes to her? Because I don't want her to harm like our son, or harm us. But he was like, it got to the point where she had got their phone number, and she's basically like calling them.
Like
And then
crazy.
as soon as they pull up, he's like, yo,
Mhm.
as soon as we pull up, she's running across the street. And he's
Right.
like I don't know what to say to this girl.
See,
So,
this was my thing though. Like, she's at home all day. She don't really have friends. She technically don't got a family, and nobody's there to take care of her. Like, yeah, she's gonna be looking for people to talk to and link with and shit like that. Like, You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you kind of expect that. And no, don't get me wrong. It was very excessive the way that they was pretty much explaining everything, of course. But it's like, yo, at some point, bro, especially if you're a neighbor and you're witnessing all these things, because what they ended up doing to me, which I didn't like at all, they was just basically telling the property manager, like, yo, we got to get her the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because they did not renew old girl lease. Like they were
Yeah.
just like, yo, we want this girl out of here. Because
Yeah.
a
They
lot of
was
the people that were living there were complaining about it,
right.
saying, all the things that she was doing. And then they got to talking about, you know, she would wear the same things.
Yeah, they said
She
she had
had an
money.
odor. They said that she wouldn't, take care of herself. And they started putting that shit on Michael and Christine. Like, why? And then the whole thing of like Christine going over to cut her hair.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? After
The
the
haircut was crazy.
yeah, and I'm like, yo, like what?
When they were showing pictures of her haircuts, bro, I'm like, oh, they doing this girl wrong.
Yeah, they definitely started doing that girl wrong. Like
She had
once,
the
like,
Bieber haircut when he was little.
yo, don't do that.
No, she did. You ain't she had like the it really wasn't even a fade. Like she just had the low, you know what I'm saying, round and then like the little bob up front. Cause at first when they showed her, you like at the first glance, I'm thinking like, why are they showing this little boy? And then I look again, I'm like, oh shit, that's Natalia. I'm like, yo,
Yeah,
they really was doing her dirty.
they really was, man. And then, but like we said, even if she was quote unquote 22 years old, the girl still had a disability. So she's having a lot of problems there. They don't renew the lease. So
Right.
obviously the Barnetts is not letting her back in. So
Mm-hmm.
they choose Christy. But from what Michael said,
Wait, because you skipping over a part. So before we even get to Lafayette, we also missed the part to where they were trying to find the family who had adopted her beforehand. And
yep,
they called the, you know what I'm saying, they called the adoption agency, they were talking to children's services, everything else. And they were basically saying, like, they weren't getting any help. So then they called the police to see if it was anything that they could do. One of the police officers that was having a conversation with them was basically like, yo, check her luggage. It might be something in her or in the luggage that she came with. You might be able to find something, which I thought was off rip different too, because soon as they look in the luggage, they find whatever the fuck they're looking for. So I thought something
yep.
was off about that. So basically, they ended up finding out that the family that had adopted her beforehand was the Chacon family. And what we find out about the Chacon family is not the fact that they wanted to give her up, but basically they were using her to extort other adopted families because they were basically offering her up for money for people to adopt her. So they was basically saying like, yo, we have this little girl up for adoption. And they were saying that they were basically the foster family, that she wasn't adopted. They were basically a foster family. And in order to adopt her, you would have to pay, like, I think it was like one of the highest ones was up to where like the hundred
Yeah,
thousands, shit like
yeah,
that.
that shit was crazy.
Yeah, but they were doing it to other disabled people who were looking to adopt kids, which I thought was off rip. Like, okay, another red flag. Like, come on, bro. What are we doing here? And so finally, she ended up getting adopted by the Barnetts. And then this is where we move forward to the Lafayette situation.
Man, it's
Crazy.
like, and the wild part is, so they went to, well, Christine at least went to Purdue, which is
Mhm.
Purdue is in, I think Purdue is technically in West Lafayette or Lafayette, one of the two.
West
So
Lafayette.
yeah, West Lafayette. So she knew of the area.
Right.
So Christine, I think what was going through Christine's mind was, okay, I'm gonna drop this girl off in the hood, right?
Absolutely. Basically.
Because, and then she called it a white trash neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so I think Christine thinking was, okay, I'm gonna put her there because nobody's gonna pay her any attention here. But then at the same time, I'm going to get her an apartment where there are stairs, so it's more difficult for her to maneuver around because the reason she was able to walk into other people's places because, everything was one level. So they're like, okay, these stairs will tire her out. But the crazy part was how Michael explained it. He was like, there was a grocery store, 2 blocks. There was a prevention center, 1 block down the road. There was a library. It was 1 block in another direction. It was this place.
That nigga said it was a Salvation Army.
Yeah.
Bro, first and foremost, the grocery store was not a grocery store. That shit.
That was a corner store.
No, that shit was a food pantry.
Yeah.
The shit that where, you know what I'm saying, people go, the less fortunate people or homeless or whatever go to get food to be able to survive. That's what that was. That was not a grocery store. Second, nigga, you talking about it's a Salvation Army down the way. What the fuck was she gonna do at Salvation Army?
Yo. Michael was on some bullshit.
Then when he was describing the shit, he said, I mean, it was a great neighborhood. She had everything she needed within the thing. She could take it there and use her EBT card and da-da-da. I'm like, nigga, okay. All of this shit is really starting to get worse and worse the more he start talking.
That's why I say Michael is on that bullshit.
That's why I say, bro, he has to be. He has to have something to do with this shit, bro.
Yeah, I don't think he's as not complicit as he makes it out to be.
Nah,
I do think Christine. I do think it was probably like her idea.
I don't think so. I think they worked in tandem.
I think they worked in tandem, but I think that I do think Christine was running the show. Is what I'm saying.
She was definitely the master.
I'm saying that he went along with it. Like, I'm not saying he's complicit. Like, he has nothing. I'm saying, like, I think it was Christine's idea. Yo, Lafayette is a great place to put her because we could put her there. And I think, I hate to say this, I really do, and I hope this isn't what she was thinking, but I think Christine was like, yo, this girl can get murdered here.
I said the same. I said, first and foremost, bro, why the fuck would you put her in such a dangerous area where you know that even the neighbor that was talking that was there, the one with all the kids.
He was a sex offender.
No, not him. I ain't talking about him yet. I'm talking about the lady with all the cats and dogs and kids and shit.
Yeah.
She was like, yo, she said, man, I've been here since fucking 80 something, since I was a kid. She said, I don't walk in the house without having a weapon on me, let alone walk outside without having a weapon on me. So, nigga, if she got to carry a pistol in the house, you know something going on.
Exactly. That's a great point. That lady, she, was on her shit, but then also, I'm pretty sure the type of how calculated Christine and Michael was, they knew a sex offender lived in them apartments too.
Absolutely.
And I think
that you wanna know why I think that? Because I think Michael did something to that girl, and they could say, okay, well, it was a sex offender over there. Might want to look at him. I think that shit is all a cover up, bro. It don't make sense.
Okay, so you saying that Michael is gay, bisexual, in the closet, but also was sexually attracted, not sexual, abusing Natalia.
Okay, so of course that was all joking shit. But what I'm saying is this: I do think Michael is bisexual. He may be just gay and won't admit it, but I do think he is for sure. That I'm for sure of. I also think that if we do get another season of this, we may find out that Michael may have some past trauma with being sexually abused. And because of that, I also feel like we may find out something about Jacob, because Jacob is living in the basement after he was supposed to go to Canada and he had a chance to get a master's degree and everything else. Now all of a sudden he living in his dad's basement. Then with the things that was happening with Natalia, like I said, for her to be at the age of 6 supposedly. And for her to be talking and doing some of the things that these people were saying that she was doing, no, that don't come out of nowhere. That's something that comes from something else. So I think that she may have also been getting sexually abused. I wouldn't be surprised if that comes out if we get another season of this.
And then also the one part that was really crazy of the fact that he said that Jacob had said that she would do things like, urinate in certain places or whatever. And
Right.
then Christine came up with the idea of telling Jacob to go into her room and piss on her sheets.
Come on, bro. No, he pissed. He said piss all over her whole room.
And I'm like, first of all, what type of sick shit is that where there's one house, one room in your house that smells like piss? Yo, piss
I
is a
don't.
strong fucking smell.
I don't think that was Christine that made him do that. I think Jacob was getting coached into that by his dad, because I think his dad said some shit like that. Because
Yo,
remember, so let's go ahead and keep moving, because and I'm gonna get to it to why I think that that's why I keep saying this motherfucker's creepy. So we can go ahead and keep going to get to this. So the Lafayette situation happens. They talked to the, the neighbors that was there, and it was one lady, I think her name was like Cynthia or something like that, that ended up telling her like, yo, you by yourself, you could just come live with us, because it was her and her boyfriend. And basically she was in a way taking care of Natalia. And what I thought was weird was when Natalia had quote unquote moved in with this lady, when the detective called her and asked her and started questioning her, she was like, yeah, she's been living with me for like 5 or 6 months. You know what I'm saying? We pretty much, treat her like family. She's good. We went and got her some food, and we've been taking care of her, making sure she's good. She's been doing okay.
mhm.
Then he says, well, we're not going to take her from you. We just want to know, where she's at, what's going on, so we can relay it back to them. And when she did that, remember, Christine called, and Natalia had put Christine on speakerphone. And the whole time she said Christine was just going off, going crazy, talking reckless. And then that's when she said she grabbed the phone and she started talking to Christine, and her and Christine had a back and forth. And
Yep.
so
Because
um
she had Christine, not Christine. She had Natalia put Christine on speaker,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then they had a shouting match and all that
right.
type shit.
So the lady had basically took all of Natalia's social security money and got it to where Natalia was able to get her money whenever she wanted
Herself.
to.
Yep.
She was able to get all of her benefits, her EBT and everything else, without having to go through the Barnett. So she basically, because she was of age, was able to basically sign everything over and get everything where she needed it, and she didn't have to wait on them. And I think that right there was the last straw, because remember, Michael was like, yo, everything that I had put out, all the money that I was giving out, I was getting back from her social security. Which to me, I'm like, okay, so nigga, you had a Lamborghini, you had all this other shit, and y'all had all this money in this fucking mansion, and then out the blue, you need the social security money to put back into your account. What the fuck was going on
I,
to where you needed that? It couldn't have been lawyer fees, because nigga, you had all this you had a whole fucking Lamborghini sitting in your driveway. You mean to tell me the lawyer costs that much? Come on, bro.
I don't know if Michael was involved in like a Ponzi scheme or something, but
Yeah,
it never explains to us
how he got his money, or what he
how
did
he
with it.
got his money and how he lost it. Now, I do
Right.
understand divorces. Yeah, because this
Mhm.
is the thing. I don't think he completely lost everything, because this dude was still able to get another house.
Right.
A lot of the times you going through, real life shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I told you, when I left my ex-wife, I had to go to the pop's house for 2 months.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
then I was able to get an apartment, but I ain't had no fucking furniture. So, dude, you go straight to another house.
Yeah, with no problems, and you
With
find another woman.
yeah, it's like, dude, I don't think this shit because he's like, yo, I go. Dude said he went from having over hundreds of $1,000s in his account to 37 cents. It's like,
Yeah, no way.
where in the fuck did this money go? Because
Okay, so
even if
this is where it gets crazy. So we find out that not only are the Barnetts full of shit, and they're not this fucking happy-go-lucky family, but they've been having domestic violence disputes since 2003. Thanks to Beth Karras, the legal expert who was in a documentary who sounds like Christopher Walken. She that was in my notes, by the way. I instantly picked up on that. I was like, she sounds like Christopher Walken. Oh, but but basically, she was trying to do her best to break down thing that they were talking about in the doc. And so when she was looking up all the information on them and everything, that's when they had also went back, talked to Rachel, and Rachel had brought up again the argument, and she was talking about other things amongst that. And so they go to a phone conversation between Christine and Michael. And basically Christine was like, yeah, I basically covered this up for you. They don't even talk about what they covered up. She just say, I covered this up for you. You need to stop acting innocent and everything else. And Michael like, yeah, I know. And I'm trying to get it together and all this other shit. And then this is where I say I don't trust this nigga. First and foremost, when they were talking to Jacob in the basement, Jacob had brought up some incident, but he said he didn't want to get into it. And then they had took a break or whatever. They was upstairs talking, and then something about a shotgun, and then kicking Natalia down the stairs or some shit. Like it was a bunch of shit they were talking about. And he was like, oh shit, my mic is on. Now, this is where I say this nigga Michael is a weirdo. If somebody is telling you, oh shit, my mic, I didn't take it off, I think it's still on. Stop talking instantly. Make sure that mic is off. Because from there, at that point on, it could be a setup.
they carried on a whole nother 5 minutes.
Nigga.
You keep talking, man. And you shut the fuck up.
Are you serious?
Yo,
I'm flabbergasted. I'm like, yo, these niggas really don't get it.
and then even Jacob was like, yo, I'm an idiot. Like the mic is still on. And Michael like kept going. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, that's when I was like, yo, this shit is scripted. They did that shit for a reason. Because dude, first of all, there is a privacy type of thing. They could be like, okay, when you said take a break, there is some legal shit that's where it's like we can't film you when you're not film you, but record you when we not know that you're listening.
That's true, but remember, Jacob walked off. When he was like, no, I'm not talking about this. I'm done. He just walked off.
Yeah.
Michael, when he took his break, of course he took all his shit off and they up there talking or whatever. But Jacob just walked the fuck off. They cut back. This nigga started talking about popcorn. Like we had this whole fucking conversation about a shotgun and kicking somebody down the stairs. After he told you 3 times, yo, I got my mic on. I'm an idiot. My mic is still on. Yo, I got my mic on. They just still having the conversation. So then the trial comes up and Michael is basically acquitted of everything. And then they tell him that the trial for Christine is coming up. He's getting subpoenaed. Jacob might get subpoenaed. And basically he can't get arrested or tried for anything that they bring up that was in the previous trial because of double jeopardy. So he just talking shit. He talking big shit. Yeah, I don't have to worry about anything. They told me basically, double jeopardy. So I'm not worried about all that. I'm clear. I'm good. It's just it feels like this anvil. Then he basically does this stupid shit where he looks up at the ceiling for whatever fucking reason. It's like this big anvil, and then he pauses, and it's like a tiny little string that's holding it, and it's like a cartoon coyote. It has big scissors, and he's just waiting to cut it, and it's gone now, and all my stress is relieved. And then he does all that extra shit. Then he goes into talking about how Christine was doing everything, because now he said Christine the fuck up. Christine is in for shit.
This is the first time I've ever seen anyone.
Come on, man.
And the setup is what made it even more crazy. So Michael said, "Yo, move the camera to such and such or whatever." Michael gets out of the chair.
This is the only thing that made me think. The only thing that made me think he never beat Natalia, bro. I swear.
Yeah. So he says, "This is what Christine did to Natalia." He does a whole little swim move joint, like she threw her over her shoulder.
Fuck out of this girl.
And started beating the shit out of the floor. Yeah. I've never seen anyone imitate someone beating someone on the floor, but you actually hitting the floor and hurt your own hand.
No, it was so weak.
I'm like, and then he gets up,
yeah,
and gets back in the chair and screams, "We all was abused." I'm like,
he said Christine was walking around that motherfucker saying,
"I'm gonna give you one more time."
Oh my god.
Yo.
He made her say a fucking monster. He said it was one point in time where she was beating her. And he pulled out his phone and recorded it. And she turned around and seen that shit, snatched it out his hand and said, "Erase it right now. Erase everything on that phone. You're supposed to be my husband. You're supposed to be with me." I said, bro, now we getting a little too far. Then he say, "I still got the phone. I held on to the phone just in case, anybody can, what I'm saying, basically do a data search on it." I said, "Oh, he set this bitch up. That's why I kind of think she may not be the mastermind."
But then the one wild part was, so they was divorced at this time, and this is when they brought the sister back, and the sister's like, "I had to sit there and watch my brother struggle because Christine would send sexy pictures of herself and say that she would basically, give him some of the box if he let her get custody of the kids."
So we gonna believe the dope fiend?
Yeah.
I don't believe it. God,
why are you doing her like that, man? She just got big eyes, man.
Nigga, she's a fiend, bro. Her eyes like this the whole fucking conversation. Anything she say, her eyes like that on 10, bro. No, she's a dope fiend. She was high on something, or she just got off of it. But I know dope fiend. I don't give a fuck what nobody said. I guarantee you drug testing, you'll find something.
Yeah. Maybe this is true. But the fact that Christine, now they showed the text that she was using sex, and she was using a box to get what she wanted out of Michael.
And she was also cheating on this nigga.
Yeah, she was cheating on him, but also the fact that, okay, we shouldn't do this. This is so wrong. Listen, I'm sorry. Christine, you mid. Okay.
Absolutely.
And the fact, but for somebody like Michael, she ain't married to Michael. So
Not, man. No, I'm not even gonna say it.
come on, man. Yo.
You know why she ain't married, bro. You know why she ain't married to Michael.
I know that's what I'm saying. That you picking up what I'm taking on. But what I'm saying is for the fact
I think we saying
no. What I'm saying is when I look at Christine, I'm like, all right, you ain't something that I'm gonna be like, you know what? I'm about to pursue that. But for somebody like Michael, I think that Michael looked at her as she was out of his league.
I think that Michael
That's what I'm saying.
was like, they'll believe me. I don't give a fuck what you talking about, bro. That man. All right.
All I'm saying is we see that she ended up getting custody of the boys. And now most of the time women do anyway. So that could be just another fabrication of the story that Michael's telling and his sister is telling. But the fact that they got messages of her sending him things, trying to entice him to get things that she wants, it has to be some truth to it if they got the messages. Because they showing us these messages of her saying that. So even though you think that the sister is a dope fiend, there's proof that Christine was using the box to get shit that she wanted out of Michael during the divorce.
Sure. It's the same thing she was doing with the and remember the person that she was quote unquote cheating with was one of the parents of the kids that she was watching in the daycare. So that's her thing. Like she was definitely, you know, out here and she for the streets for sure. That was
Christine is definitely for the streets.
For the streets for sure. Like that's what
man, dudes is knocking that down in Indiana.
Oh, I'm sure she gets around. That's how she knew about Lafayette while we talking. Really real, bro. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's how she really knew about Lafayette. But
man, when she was at Purdue, oh my God.
Man,
football team tore that down, man. Dude, Drew Brees probably knocked that down, man. What you talking about?
Hey, me and Christine is a legend on the Purdue campus, boy.
What you talking about? Christine had all the recruits coming in.
The original Boilermaker. Okay. She was the best wide receiver on campus. She knew exactly what was going on.
Oh my God. Oh, that's a moment.
So then we get into the messages that they sending back and forth. But we also get into this one message thread where Christine is propositioning my man Freddie. You said Freddie Gills, right?
Yeah, and I called him Freddie Gibbs earlier. I had to let y'all know.
So Freddie is getting these messages from Christine, amongst other people who she was sending messages to. But she was sending messages to Freddie to basically be like, yo, you know, I'm trying to set you up, you know, so with my daughter. And Freddie was just like, you got me fucked up out here in these streets. Freddie was not with messing or fornicating with any of his peers. This nigga strictly was on prostitute women.
Well, regular women, because he was a entertainer. He went on tour, so he was like, "Yo, I love women." So like, I messed around with a lot of women, but then he added on. I paid for it too. And then my man said, "Yo, men got needs out here," and I'm like, "Yo."
I wasn't mad at him though, but nigga, he shot that shit down ASAP. He was like, yo, she was selling that thing off. So, basically, in the midst of all that, I guess he also got some information about what the fuck was going on. because they then cut to Michael and was like, yo, we got some stuff that Freddie said on the laptop and blah, blah, blah. Now, this is where I find this weird because in the whole midst of this scene or this part of the documentary, his legal advisor is there.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was off rip a little weird. You've been clear to everything. What difference do it make to have a legal advisor there? But they show him they show him this laptop, and they're like, "Yo, do you want to watch it?" So the legal advisor is like, "I don't think you should fuck with this," and he like, "No, there's nothing on there that I would think. I don't care what he says. It's not true." Da, da, da. Soon as they show him whatever the fuck he said, whatever the fuck Freddie said, nigga, he spazzes. No,
Oh yeah.
it's not true, and blah blah blah, and he throws down. I'm done. And that right there, let me know he did something. And I think he was touching on her for sure. Because there's too many hints going on, and it's too much sexual activity from her, and we don't hear enough about what the fuck he was doing.
I think what they did by not showing us and telling us what the secret is, I think that's something that's going to be revealed in the second season.
Absolutely.
Because that is a major cliffhanger. Because, like you said, if Freddie is willing to go on there and just straight up say, "Yo, I'll pay for prostitutes about this piece,"
Yeah. He had to be telling the truth. Everything
he had to be he don't have anything to lie about. He don't have anything to gain from this
or lose.
And so, and then,
real quick though, and a lot of the shit that Jacob was saying, I don't know if you kind of looked at it like that, but to me, a lot of that shit was rehearsed because he start talking about Natalia too, and then he just instantly start getting on his mom, which to me didn't make sense because I'm like, first and foremost, you were supposed to be in Canada. Where they at? Why ain't you in Canada?
What happened in Canada? Why you didn't get this?
And why are you back there with your dad in your dad's basement? Not only that, they wasn't even talking for 6 years.
Then this kid was in the papers at 14 years old of how smart he was.
Did you see the whiteboard down there in his room?
That's what I'm saying.
On the whiteboard down there.
Why this dude's supposed to be somewhere with millions of dollars.
This nigga's supposed to be at NASA right now.
Like, why are you in your dad's basement with this fucked up wall? Like,
exactly.
I don't understand. Something happened. Yeah. And I don't know if we're gonna get the answer from it in the second season of this.
Right.
But one thing that was so funny to me was the one guy that was representing Natalia, the black guy.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime he spoke to anybody, he didn't take no shit from nobody. Anytime somebody got a slight attitude, he was like, "Yo, you ain't gonna talk to me like this." He was like, "Yo, go ahead." I'm gonna give you one more. Yo, he was not playing. Yeah. He was not playing with these people. Cause that one lady said something about him not caring. He said, "You ain't gonna tell me I don't care." I'm like, yo.
Her husband was in the background like, who the fuck is that?
She said, "No, we're not talking to you."
That was funny as fuck, bro. He was fed up with all this shit. He like, man, I see clearly what the fuck is going on. They took advantage of this girl. I don't give a fuck how old she is. Because at this point, I'm gonna be honest with you, her age really don't matter. If we really being honest, her age really don't matter, bro. Because to me, it's more so of her being disabled because she needed continuous care, man. She needed somebody there for her to help her take care of herself. And don't get me wrong, she was very independent. Not, like that's we not saying that she was just like fucking, you know what I'm saying, a, a vegetable, but at the same time, like, yo, she really needed at least have like a nurse come through once a day, you know what I'm saying, to help her get through everything, make sure everything good or whatever the case may be. She needed some type of home care to help her out throughout the day at some point in time, because regardless of how fucking old she didn't have the tools necessary to be out there by herself.
This is very true. And then some of the things that I think that she was dealing with in that house, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's how she could get to a situation where she would, because like even the neighbor said, I don't think she wasn't able to dress herself. I think she was independent enough to dress herself. I think it was a situation of like the dude said, and even this and the one of the neighbors at the first
Mm-hmm.
apartment said that she caught this man down there doing his laundry because they had the laundry joint where you had to put the coins in there.
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly Natalia came on to do down there and he rushed out of there. But the reason I bring that up is because they were saying that she would need assistance to put
Mm-hmm.
the change in there to wash her clothes.
Right.
So I don't
And
know if
in the apartment too, remember, she couldn't reach it.
that's what I'm saying. So I don't know how much they even cared about preparing her
Right.
for any of that type shit.
Right.
I mean, there are functional college students who go to school and literally don't know how to wash clothes, but their parents wash their clothes all their life. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? And
Also
now
function.
you got this girl. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's like I'm with you, but also to add on to that, the reason why I do think age does matter for the simple fact of with the way that the time goes, supposedly,
Mhm.
let's say she was 8.
Right.
No fucking, I don't care. I know girls develop faster. I know they're smarter, all that type
Right.
stuff. That's still, if she was 8, that's still an 8-year-old that y'all are putting on her own. That's
Right.
crazy. But like you
And
said, she's
you doing it in the late 2000s where they wasn't built like that to be doing that shit in the late 2000s. Now, if she was 8 in the 90s, she'd be able to do a whole bunch of shit.
oh
She'd
yeah,
be
because
able
it was just different.
she'd be able to cook. She'd be able to 2000s. Nah, them kids weren't built like that, bro.
Yeah, we were different from these kids nowadays. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I'm with you though. Like, yeah, like within her condition, that's something that
Yeah.
needed. I'm saying attention. You know, maybe
Yes. Yeah.
not, maybe not around the clock, but
At some day, at least
at
one or
least
two
every
hours.
day. At least
Yeah.
every day they could go there and make sure that everything is good. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Did you get your bath? Was there something you wasn't able to get, or did something fall over you couldn't pick it up? Just regular shit. But I think that they just got to the point where like they were stuck. Because remember that one family, that both of those were little people, and they tried to get her, but they got a phone call saying some shit about
The
they was
money.
gonna have to pay like 50,000 or some kind of crazy shit. They was like, yo, we can't afford that.
Yeah, that was
And
from the
then they
Tacoma.
yeah, and then they told her that y'all gonna have to take on her medical expenses as well. And that lady was like, yo, like we can't handle that. Like
Yeah.
that's too much money, to take on. There is so much weird shit going on in this dude where, like I said, I watched it and I'm just as confused. Like I still don't know. Like I can't give you answers because I still don't know. Only thing I know, I do believe a lot of Michael shit is fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that there is some coaching going on as
Mm-hmm.
far as Michael, as far as Jacob, as far as Natalia. But really, and Christina might be a bit of an asshole. Other than that, I don't know what's going on here. And then the one scene before we get out of here that really threw me off was they asked Natalia, "How old are you?" And she was like, she said at first she says 32, and then she's like, "No, I'm 33." And I'm like, "Why you gotta think about it?" And then you see she's thinking. She was like,
Mhm.
"Well, I'm 33, but technically I'm 19." I'm
Right.
like, I'm done. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on here, man?
Well, this is the thing though, and this is why I say that I from the beginning of watching this and actually seeing her and seeing the clips of her and everything else, I always thought that she was older than what they said she was. Right now, at what age I'm not sure, but I'm 100% sure that by 2019 she's at least no younger than 18, 19. I'm sorry. I got a feeling she's no younger than that. Even in and for me, the only reason I say that is because when they showed Therese, the only thing I could think when looking at Therese, I'm like, in her face, she looks 27. Like she looked like she's in her 20s. So to me, I'm like, if she was looking like that sitting next to Therese at that time, then by now she gotta be fucking close to 20 something. And so even when they had her out there on her own, that's why and it kept confusing me because legally she was 22, but they kept talking about child protection services. And I'm like, well, technically she's not a child. Legally, she's not a child, basically. And I mean, the only thing that they neglecting her, but I mean, like, if anything, they would just need to get her some type of health care. So
Yeah, this.
that's what really threw me off of it. And that's really what kind of made me look at Michael like, yeah, something ain't right about you, bro. Because it's once again, everything that he's saying is conflicting. 1 minute is he at Natalia, the next minute he at Christine. Then like everything he do, he's a victim. Everything he's a victim. He never talks about some shit that he did. And that last scene where they show him with the laptop, that shit was way too suspicious for me, bro. It was way too suspicious for me. You don't act like that when you ain't guilty. If you ain't did no shit, he'd have been like, man, everything this motherfucker saying is a lie. I have never done no shit like that. But soon as you get guilty and you've been, nigga, if you get caught up in the lie with your girl, you act just like that. Oh man, I don't know why the fuck you saying that. You always trying to accuse me. You instantly get in that mode. Anytime some shit like that when you guilty, but that's just how you naturally do. So when he did that, I was like, oh yeah. And then even when Jacob did that shit, Jacob was like, no, I'm not talking about it. I'm done. He guilty of some shit. Well, I'm not gonna say he guilty, but he knows something. Because I don't really want to put Jacob in this because I feel like Jacob and the rest of them kids have also been just as manipulated. But I don't feel like it's just by Christine. I feel like it's by Michael too. And I feel like Michael is not, because like they keep trying to, and I'm not saying they are, because he keeps trying to make it seem like, oh, Christine, she was abusive and we were this and we were that and we all were going through abuse. And it's like, come on, my nigga, you regardless if you can't throw a punch, if you punch the floor and your hand hurt or whatever the situation is, it comes to a certain point as a man. There's certain advantages you have regardless of if you sensitive, if you hardened or whatever the case may be. Like I feel like if at certain points it's like, all right, your man strength had to kick in that certain shit. Your man instincts had to kick in that certain shit. The same way Christine's woman instincts kicked in that shit, and her woman strength would kick in that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
it's just certain shit, man, that I don't know. Like I said, I think they work in a tandem. I think they worked in a tandem. Now, do I think that Christine was, you know what I mean, like kind of fiddling with the strings? For sure. But I think Michael is just as guilty because not only was he super complicit in this, but I think some of this shit was him fiddling with some strings too. I'm trying to
There,
cover his own ass for some shit that he done did.
yeah. like I said, there are a lot of moving parts when it comes to this whole thing. And I think that even when it's all said and done, I still don't
Mhm,
think that we're gonna know the truth. We're not
mhm.
gonna know everything that went on in that house. We're not gonna know whether Michael got a no guilty verdict, which was wild because they talked to the foreman and she said when they went in there, everybody immediately said guilty.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden something happened and then everybody had to say not guilty, which is weird as fuck, which I did not understand. How can everybody feel so strongly and so quickly by saying this dude was guilty?
Right.
And then she made it seem like they got forced to say not guilty, but she
Yeah.
felt, and everybody in there felt that he was guilty.
Yeah.
Did everybody get paid? Like,
Remember,
what
but
happened?
this is what I'm saying. I think that it was the medical evidence of everything. Because remember that lady kept saying the medical evidence is pointing to the fact that she's an adult. So everything that was happening, of course, that's going to play into it. So they was playing the tapes of the orderlies and the healthcare workers at the mental hospital, and ain't no telling who the witnesses were. You know what I'm saying? Coming into that, if they had any, for that matter. And they was talking about, you know what I'm saying, some shit that they was doing tests and all that shit with. Like, ain't no telling for real. And then on top of that, in a weird way, yo, Natalia ain't as innocent as we think either, though. Because
Listen,
it's some now I don't know if it's some shit that maybe they coached her on, or it's just how she, just how she comes across. But yo, she done did some shit too. Cause when she was talking to that couple and she was telling them that she 26 and she tried to kill her parents, like, yo, why the fuck would you just randomly do
yeah, voluntarily say some shit like that.
So I don't know if she was coached into that shit. Like, cause remember when they went there, he was like hounding her about the shit that she was talking to the healthcare professional about. And then, like you said, he hounding her about donuts. Like, yo, where you get the donuts? And then she like, shit, I found them in the cabinet. And I mean, the date was on them. They still was good. He like, man, what the fuck you get these donuts at? Ain't no donuts in the goddamn cabinet. And she
She
like,
gave him 3 stories, dude.
bro. And then she like, well, such and such down the street took me. And he had a fit about that. So I'm like, none of this shit is adding up, bro. And then to be recorded, this is my thing. Them recording themselves doing all this shit has got to
That
be the dumbest shit in the world. I know they trying to make it look a certain way, but as bright as they seem to be, they not that bright. Because come
no,
on, these motherfuckers is really, really, really on the low end of the scale when it comes to intelligence.
like I say, man, they book smart ain't street smarts.
It really ain't. Some
Because
all sense ain't common.
what threw me off, I mean, we ain't got to keep going, but like what threw me off was just the fact of when they had her standing up against the wall,
It was crazy.
punishing her, and they're filming it. I'm like, who films them disciplining a quote unquote child?
Because
That's some
because she
weird shit, man.
couldn't give her names of the family she was with before or anything about Ukraine. She was a fucking kid during Ukraine. How the fuck could she know some shit like that? But this is
Man,
the thing, though. I'm gonna tell you one clip and we can move on and we can finish. The one clip that I kind of got super suspicious about that they showed it like 2 or 3 times. But the thing that made me real suspicious, and I think that's why I say I think she was getting coached through a lot of this shit too, is when she had the book in her hand and Christine was like, "What are you reading?" And she was like, "The Bible." And she was like, "Why?" She was like, "To what she say to get rid of
to
these
get
evil
rid of
thoughts."
evil thoughts. Yeah.
And she was like, "Evil thoughts about what?" And she was like, "Harming people." And I'm like, "All right, man, get the fuck out of here."
Like, man, I wonder how many takes that was. She was like, you
That's
know
what I'm
what? That
yeah,
that
that
wasn't good. This
yeah,
time, say it like this.
yeah. So I'm like,
There's no way that that person said that shit.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
voluntarily. Like there's
And then, like,
people.
did you see the way? Did you see her handwriting and shit?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, nah, bro. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, man. I don't know, man. But to me, this reminded me of the movie Orphan 1 and 2. This definitely reminded me of that. Well, not 2, the first one for sure though.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into the Fire Flames.
Cool.
Yoga fire. Yoga flame.
All right, so what you got, bro?
This might be the most difficult fire flame to give because it brought me aware of a story that I never heard of. But at the same time, the way that it's being done by Michael being the primary person, and we have to basically go off of everything that Michael is saying, but Michael also got something to hide, and he also is giving off a certain agenda.
Right.
Yeah, we getting different points of views from different people and things like that. I think it's too heavy Michael driven.
Right. Right.
And I think that that does put a little damper on this because Michael obviously got some shit to hide. And then, like you said, you hear different shit for 2019 and shit for 2022. I think that that hurts the documentary. Because now it doesn't really feel too much like a documentary anymore. It really feels like the Michael story. Let me get my side of the story out. So I have to knock it there, but I want to praise it for them to take the information that we do have and to get the interviews from the people that we do have and make people aware of the story.
Right.
So I'm going to give it a 3.5 because it's too much about Michael. And there's something going on with this guy. And so I think that kind of hurts it a little bit. I
Right.
like I want to give it a higher score because I like how they was able to go to Ukraine and get the mother, get the swab from her, and
Mm-hmm.
have a Zoom meeting with her. All of that stuff is super cool and it's really good and it's really good investigating. But I have to knock it some because I feel like there's so much Michael in this to where it's like, yo, like I gotta knock y'all for this. So I'm giving it a 3.5. But when
Right.
I say that, it's not a bad documentary, but it's
Right.
just it's heavy, heavy Michael driven.
Okay. Okay. I respect that for sure. So I'm giving it a 4. For the reason that you knocked it, I'm using that as a strength for this documentary. Because what we don't see a lot of times is um an opportunity in documentaries to where there was already an interview from one standpoint, and
Mhm.
then to later on down the line see that same point of view, after time has passed and years later, going through something even. And so for me, I feel like this wasn't the Michael story, but I feel like this was okay. We're giving you this information because technically we still don't know, but there's something about this guy that we're trying to pinpoint because in 2019 it was this, and now when we come back 3 years later, it's something totally different. And there's something that he's hiding, because even the fact that they had that conversation on the top of the stairs and they was able to use that lets me know that the people behind this documentary, they don't feel as confident in Michael as Michael may feel in himself. And I think that what I'm saying, we keep saying, if we do get a a second season or a second part to this, we may end up getting some information that may be super detrimental to Michael's, you know, standpoint in this whole thing. Also, we might end up finally getting the truth about him and Christine and Natalia as well, or Natasha, because her mom was like, "That's not her fucking name. Her name is Natasha." So we end up really even finding out her real name is Natasha. They changed her name and everything. So all of this shit is instantly on some bullshit. The mom said, you know, she was dealing with this shit for 17 years. Ain't no telling how old this girl is. We don't know what this girl really has been through and what she's dealt with. So I'm really interested in seeing where this goes, because like this is one of those things that I do appreciate about documentaries, the fact that, you know, they get you into a current event or a certain event in history or topic for that matter. And it's like, yo, I need more information. I need to know. So hopefully they come back and hit us with something else. But yeah, I'm definitely going for.
Okay, I can see that point of view. I'm not mad at it.
For sure, man. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on, man. Coming soon.
Let's do it.
Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
All right, man. So this next episode we are bringing to you, we will be talking about the great Clifton Powell, man. Because that's right, it's an appreciation episode. It's gonna be good because he might have, you know what I'm saying, some movies that we might not even know about under his belt. That's how many movies this dude has been in.
This is definitely going to be one of those appreciation episodes where, you know, you put him in that class of like a Loretta Devine because he never really stars in roles, but when
Right.
he's in a role,
Mm-hmm.
that dude stands the fuck out
Yes.
every time.
Yes.
Every time. Everything he's playing in, he has the most quotable moments in
Mm-hmm.
so many movies. Like
Mm-hmm.
even like a movie, in Menace to Society, if you ain't really about that life, you might have forgot he was in that shit. But he had
Right.
one of the best lines.
Yeah.
That mother said that they were watching that tape. That dude said, "Hey," he said, "Man, this is just like when Kane was whooping your ass." That mother said, "All right, nigga." But when the police see this tape, no, I like the part when he told the dude, he said, "Hey," he said, "What time is it?" He said, "What time I tell you to come through here?" He was like, he said 2 o'clock. He said, "Look, don't come through this motherfucker at 2 o'clock. I don't even get out of bed till about 12 o'clock. Until 2 o'clock." He said, and he was like, "Yo," he said, "I need a maximum whatever." He said, "I need it in great condition." He said, "All right." He said, "Come back around by 8:30." he said, he said, "You mean 8:30 at night?" He said, "What? You can't come through this motherfucker at night, nigga?" he said, he said, "You fine having a black man steal for your ass, but you can't come around this bitch tonight, nigga." Hey, that shit was so funny. I was like, yo, that dude is all time, but
Clifton
all
Powell,
time.
man. Bitch
But
ass chop. That nigga
yeah,
had some role. That nigga was
yeah,
pinky.
that
That nigga
mother
was
pick.
Cuddy.
Hey,
Man.
I'm telling you,
Hey, Cuddy was.
Cuddy
You talking
was
about old ass role, bro? When I say that nigga played a great OG, he played a great OG. Cause nigga, I know an old nigga that carry a pistol like that to this day
hey,
and will do the same thing.
hey, we'll save it for the pie. We'll save it for
For
the
sure,
pie.
man. For sure. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen, if you enjoyed the information that we gave you on this documentary and you are excited to go to Max and watch this documentary, or you like, I don't know what the fuck y'all was talking about. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea what's going on. How old is this girl? Just hit us up on the socials and we'll be able to confirm that we also don't know. On Instagram, on Instagram and Twitter at View9 Pod, on Facebook, VA Pod Watch Group. Hit us up on Twitter, man, because we have a community there where we can talk about movies and TV all day long. And if you're following the podcast and you'd like to get more episodes, subscribe to our podcast. It's only $2.99 a month. The link is in the description. So you can go there, click that link. You can subscribe. It's only $2.99 a month. You get extra episodes. We're working on those episodes to bring you more. We got a few in there already. So just be prepared. And if you'd like to follow me, hit me up on Twitter at Scoots Bronson. I have a link tree in my bio. You can find me everywhere else there.
Yes, sir. Y'all can find me at s.foster8 on Instagram and on Twitter at 28 minutes or less pod. They're just on IG. Follow the podcast. 28 minutes or less on all major platforms. Last episode is still 130, which is Midget Moley, the kingpin of Atlantic City. So go check that out on my drug series. And that's all I got.
That's what's up, man. Make sure y'all definitely go check out that 28 minutes or less, that gangster series, man. Let me tell you something. You talking about a dude giving you information? Yeah, he gonna give you everything you need to know, and it's all off the dome, which is fire, by the way. I still don't know how he does it. So y'all go check that out, man. Make sure you subscribe to that pod as well. Make sure you follow that pod as well. Definitely. And listen, thank you guys for your support.
Oh,
What's up?
I'm sorry. One last thing, y'all. I know he's not in movies, but his father is. I don't know if y'all heard, but prayers out to the James family. Bronny James had experienced cardiac arrest when he was working out at USC. It seems like I don't think that is something that, I don't think it was as serious as DeMar Hamlin was.
Right.
Not trying to lighten it or anything, but it's just the fact that this is something that could possibly, determine what his future could be. Like this kind of changes things, but this is just more of like prayers out to the family. This was a huge scare, and I just wanted to mention it on the pod, man.
Absolutely. Always prayers out whenever something like that happens. And you know what I'm saying, we wish him a speedy recovery. We hope that, he doesn't excuse me. We hope that he doesn't suffer any long-term effects or anything like that. But just keep your prayers up. And hopefully, he'll be out and he'll be okay soon. But thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you all for listening and watching. Until the next episode, like they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap.
Cut.